Going on, Secondhand Talent family? It's your boy Steiner here, as always, here with Lauren and Uncle Pablo from the Cheech and Chong Discord NFT community. Lauren, Unc, thank you guys so much for joining the program. We're so happy to have you.
What up? What up? Glad to be here, Steiner. Thanks for the invite.
Hey Steiner, thanks for welcoming us.
Hey, with open arms, we're so happy that you're here. Um, we start off with a traditional first question on the podcast, which I'll present to you both. Had you never heard the term before? What does secondhand talent mean to you?
Well, secondhand, I just break it down into the two words, secondhand talent. It's the passed on, you know. Secondhand can be through information or it can be a physical item, such as a service. So I like what you're doing here, and I appreciate the intro. I like how you're shining the spotlight on the people that shine the spotlights. It's a great phrase.
Thank you. Thank you. Listen, credit where credit is due. Lauren, what about you?
Well, it was the first time that I had heard secondhand talent, and I had to think about it, and I was like literally thinking about it. What is it? Yeah, I kind of came to terms with it being kind of like not necessarily recycled news, but like passed down news, shared news, underground news, maybe music and art and stuff that hasn't been passed around in the
Yeah,
mainstream. And so it's kind of second round, second hand.
I love both of those answers. And one of the things that I love the most about this specific question is that every person that I've interviewed has given a different answer, and every answer is correct. There's really no way, it's a new term. And the way that I kind of see it, just for context sake, so the Cheech and Chong NFT Discord is a community comprised of holders of the Homies in Dreamland NFT series, created by Cheech and Chong and illustrated by the wonderful Jermaine Rogers, who I always wear Mark's shirts, but had to rock the jackalope today. Go shout out Jermaine, love you, buddy. And you know, you guys to me are really the epitome of secondhand talent, because the way we see it is that it's not that the talent is any less, it's just a little overlooked, right? We all know it takes a village to put on a show, to host a community on Discord, right? And typically, I find that people don't really, everybody knows Cheech and Chong, but I feel like people deserve to know who you all are just as much, because you all work incredibly hard at what you do. And like Uncle Pablo was saying before, we like to shine the spotlight on the people who shine the spotlights. And that's what, in my personal view, and why I'm so grateful you're on the show, is because I feel like that's what you're doing for a whole community. It's really cool.
Much
And
appreciated. That's really great of you, Steiner, honestly. And you say, we're in an industry that's kind of new, so
mm,
it's even has many more challenges. Let me put it that way.
absolutely.
And the other thing is the anonymity of it as well. So, do we have a community on Discord? Yeah, we sure do. We have a great community. They like to come out to the different events that we have and the games and IRL events, and they support in all kinds of different ways through social media and IRL and conferences, things like that. Um, but we don't know their ages. We don't know their demographic. We don't know where they're from. Occasionally, few members will say, I'm over here, and we kind of have an idea. I'm in this country or I'm in this country, but we don't know their age group. We don't know where they're coming from, their background of their neighborhood or anything. So there's a challenge right there, and figuring out which events, what do people like, how should we word this. There's lots of things that go into a Discord announcement, even.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. And one of the interesting things I actually noticed about your particular announcement channel in the Discord is that comments are disabled. And that really, to me, emphasizes your point of, the amount of calculus that really goes into putting out those messages. And, Lauren, just before the interview, we were talking, we see that your NFT there is moving around a little bit. By the way, what's his name, by the way?
This is one of the munchies. She is what I call it's like my own thing, but
oh,
it's a girl because she's wearing a dress. If you can see, she's got
I
like a
see it.
rose
It's a
dress
little
on.
tube top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I got into this collection, I don't know, I started grabbing as many of the characters that resembled women with the dresses. And I picked one that Munchie is there's a lot of them, right? So it's a colony of Munchie. So I decided to pick this one as my profile. I also do hold a lot of them. So it was hard to pick one, and I'm really happy with this one.
For what it's worth, Munchie is my favorite as well. But they're all great. I mean, Jermaine is phenomenal. But to the point about it being a new space, not just, in the aspect of Discord being a new medium, for which we, create this community, but the added level of given where we are, right? You mentioned the anonymity of it, and it's really that calculus of catering to an audience that you really, they always tell you read the room. Well, I'm trying to read a book with nothing written in it over here, so gotta get the feedback from the community, and you guys are super involved in it. And it being new, I'm very curious to know, for each of you, whoever would like to go first, what brought you in? Were you fans of Cheech and Chong first, or were you fans of NFTs first? Very curious.
Ladies first.
Well, mine's kind of easy in a weird way. I got introduced to this space through Jermaine Rogers. I am an art collector, and I started collecting his art about 10 years ago, a little more than 10 years ago. And through the pandemic, I stayed close to two fun groups on Facebook, which were two poster collecting groups. One is a tool poster collecting group, and one was the We Carry Each Other, which is a Jermaine Rogers poster
Shout
collecting
out,
group.
we carry each
So
other. Love y'all.
yeah,
I'm in too.
so that's the community that I came from. So Jermaine came into We Carry Each Other, put out an open invitation to just see, I think, if anybody was interested in NFTs. And I took a hold and came into Clubhouse. And at the time, they were interviewing the group about the community and why we loved Jermaine's art, why we stayed together. And it was really like a lot of community questions, and then basically telling us about the NFTs. I didn't realize until kind of after. I think what they were doing was showing other artists the community that Jermaine had already had that existed outside of NFTs, right? Because part of NFTs is community building. I just recognized a lot of the artists in the room right off the bat, a lot of lowbrow artists throughout the US and some overseas. And I stayed in the room and I ended up hanging out daily. There was like Frank Kozik, Brian Romero, Lurk from Lurk Loves You, Lurk and Destroy was in there. So many amazing artists that were coming in there on a daily and just having conversation. Wow. And I ended up hanging out in there and watching this crazy 2021 of NFT explosion. And I believe I didn't even know that Jermaine was working on a collection. I ended up finding out in November of 2021. That's when I joined the Discord, and I minted January 25th along with everybody else. So
Right.
then I ended up working on the project.
Was Cheech and Chong any part of that influence, or was it strictly through the JR route?
It was 100% through the JR because of his characters and his story that he had already created in the lore with
Yeah.
his world, and we carry each other.
Yeah.
And then to see like how is he going to take another world, or is he going to marry them? Are they going to cross sections? Like what's going to happen? And then when Cheech and Chong aspect, it was just that was a no-brainer. My
Sure.
family, like Cheech and Chong is something that has been a part of the men in my family for years. Chicano actor Cheech, I think was one of the first brown actors out there in the 70s and 80s,
Yep.
and was really, really easy for my family members to identify with. So yeah, I think the two of them, it was just kind of like, this is really cool.
Right on. How about you, Unc? What was your pathway into this project?
Into this project was strictly I was already into NFTs, hunting around for different projects that were going to be successful. They were going to pop off. I don't do a lot of selling. I collect a lot, so that's where NFTs really drew me in. My buddy finally got me into crypto, like at 2020, right as the old pandemic was hitting. So I had been in the marijuana industry for a long time. I had opened up a dispensary here in Michigan with four other people, and had gotten out right about the same time because there was just some bigger players coming in, and I moved up north to the cottage and got into crypto. And I was like, all right, this is pretty sweet. And I'm just diving into it, literally 40, 60 hours a week of just crypto. And then
Wow.
I was using Reddit for a lot of my information, believe it or not. And
I mean, I
it'd
believe it
take.
at the time for sure. I mean,
I
that's
mean,
where, yeah,
yeah, it would take you to credible links too. I mean, I wasn't just reading somebody's comments. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
um, NFTs came across the timeline, you know, and I'm like, what the heck is this? And I looking into it. I'm like, oh, well, my exchange that I use has an NFT platform that is separate, but they're like associated with it. So I got into that. I was like, oh, 50 cents. Yeah, I can blow 50 cents on an NFT, no problem. So I did that, and it went to about $250. I was like, oh, all right. So you got my full attention. So then Vivi popped into the feed,
Yep. Yep.
beginning of like 21 for
Shout
me.
out Luke Chu.
And that's how I found out about Jermaine Rogers, honestly.
Okay.
He dropped the rabbits, like the
The
protector,
choices,
the assassin.
the
Yep, the
choices,
choices.
the choices series. Yep. Absolutely.
Exactly. And I love the anamorphism. I've
Yeah.
always liked that, giving animal human qualities, traits, things like that. Just kind of identifies with me. And so, yeah, anyway, fast forward a little bit, and I hear Cheech and Chong dropping an NFT. I jumped in the Discord as fast as possible. I'd been working for another project doing community management. And,
You heard Cheech and Chong and you were like,
oh, yeah. I was like, oh, hold on, this is an established brand. Jumping into NFTs. I was like, okay, let's see what this is about. Seen some of the sneak peeks, was in the Discord, it's just going great. And being in the marijuana business previously and being on chat platforms for 20 years, I was like, man, this is sweet. I wonder if they need any help, moderating. Sure enough, they're like, yeah, sound like a perfect fit. You're into the marijuana, you're into NFTs, about chat, groups and just kind of the different intricacies back and forth, with chat versus being in someone's presence and talking. There's a lot of different things that go on there. So, yes, from a really entry level view, oh, I go in there and I chat. Well, yeah, but you got to look out for different things. There's bad actors in every walk of life. So it's nice to
yeah,
be able to have
unfortunately
people that look
so.
out for you when you're just trying to relax or
Right.
chill or
Or create
whatever you may
something
call it.
positive.
Yeah, so jumped along and just kind of started immersing myself into the community, and I minted, yep, as an OG minter. So It's like in the first window or whatever, and ended up minting a cool little Chong and a fox, and got a Z the bunny. Z the bunny is my favorite. I don't know what it is. I just like bunnies.
We're
So
gonna and we're gonna if either of you want to name the characters, we can pop up an icon of each and just so everyone can get a reference, or I'll just pop them all up anyway. But I can't recall all the names off the top of my head, but they're all fantastic. You're right.
completely agree. I think he did a great job on all of them. And there's 16 one of ones in the collection as well. And those were all done by other individual artists, and you can definitely see those on the My Homies webpage.
That's fantastic. And just personally, I that how I got into it, because I had always been a fan of Cheech and Chong. I mean, they were a formative part of my childhood. Earache My Eye was one of the first bits that I knew, and I've been a stand-up comedian for 17 years now, and Cheech and Chong have always been incredibly big influences of mine. I've been a fan of Jermaine since I started really collecting art, which was at a fairly young age as far as collecting goes. I've been collecting for about 15 years, and uh, I would say that Jermaine easily is in the top three most collected artists that I have. I would maybe yeah, 100% number three. It's him and it's Luke Chu and it's Mark Spusta. Which by the way, I just learned it's Spusta, not Spusta. I actually just learned after 15 years. I just learned that. Learn new things every day. So love Jermaine's work, love Cheech and Chong. I remember when he posted in We Carry about the NFT project, and I was like, cool, but I didn't really buy into it. I understood what NFTs were, but I wasn't fully vested into it. Fast forward about a year and a half ago, my friend Prob Cause mints his own NFT. Shout out Prob. And he said, we got to talking, and he asked me about it, and we started talking about it, and he said, do you own one? I said, no. He said, do you have a wallet? I said, yeah. He said, send me your address, I'll send you one. And he sent me an NFT, and it was cool. It's cool, you know. And I was like, well, let me look around. And then I was like, I think I remember that. Didn't Jermaine and Cheech and Chong do something like this? Let me look that up. And I found the My Homies in Dreamland page on OpenSea, and I was already on Discord because of Prob and because of Luke Chu. And I joined the Discord and found an active community. And that's really what hooked me and brought and kept me in and wanted to make this interview happen so much, is because joining a Discord community, the activity level really tells you so much about not just, I mean, to me personally, it tells you a lot about the character of the people in the group. Like it really does. And it's an incredibly positive place to be. I know I haven't been as active as much recently, but I minted when I minted. They're all still there. Like you said, I enjoy them. I think they're great. I love JR's art. It's cool to have it in like 4 different forms now. Like that's cool. Never thought I'd say that. Oh, say, what's the day to day like when you're in these roles? Because we have games, we have contests, we have giveaways, we have the shop. How's that like? What kind of team do you have? What you know?
Day to day is pretty busy. There's lots of things going on. We have lots of Google Docs and lots of Google sheets. So yes, there's lots of things going on, lots of things that you would think of in a company. So we've got this coming up, and so we have all the different logistics that happen up until this event or this thing that's happening, and then we have a longer timeline that reaches out farther, and then we have a whole overarching view of the year. So uh, when people look at NFTs originally and still there's roadmaps, right? And it kind of explains this is what we're doing, this is what we're about. We definitely had that. We were able to complete our roadmap to completion at the beginning of this year at our 1 year anniversary from Mint. So the Discord is definitely one of the main hubs of activity, as is the Twitter, because that's how we're able to communicate with the community. The events and games are we do have a few that are very well liked by the community. Other ones we just try and shuffle them in as we go. We find out about a different one, we try it out, we see what as again speaking originally about the demographic or the age or where these people even are in the world is how you're able to get them all together. It's about impossible, all at once.
It's kind of a
So
shot in
that's
the
why
dark there.
that's why there's different times, different days. Can you make it? Hey, if you can, awesome. If you can only make it once a month, hey, that's awesome. That experience is available there for you, and we keep it consistent so that people are like, oh yeah, there's sesh on Monday nights. I can make it. Let me go. So I think that's something that we continually strive for is consistency. And behind the scenes, you're talking instant support in a Discord. You have technical support, systemic, as far as what the whole project is doing within itself. And then with Cheech and Chong brand, we have retail support as well, because Cheech and Chong is an established brand. That's a part of what you get when you have a homie. People buy NFTs for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons that you can buy it and own a homie for is a discount on official Cheech and Chong merch, as well as free giveaways of that merch.
Let's talk later about that because I was actually unaware of that.
I get you filled in there, homie.
Thanks, buddy.
It's a fun job. I think I get kind of a real fun interaction every morning because I get to start it with the GMs. So I mainly like Twitter and Instagram. So I answer back the GMs or I answer back to the Twitter when people comment. It's a lot of fun. And then I host the Wednesdays My Homies Hangout, and then we do a Friday smoke sesh. I never thought that I would be doing this. I have to say, it's a lot of fun. It's very interesting because you're learning a lot. My real daytime job, I'm a hairdresser. And I do this in addition to hairdressing. So my day will start sometimes like if I'm working in the salon, it'll start, well, partially in the salon, and then I'll do homies, and then I'll go back to the salon. So it's really fun and it's really cool. But the interesting part that I love is I love learning. So I love to learn stuff that's new. I love to grow. I love to expand, and I love to show people what I'm learning, right? So streaming, that's like a whole new world. These talking profile pictures and doing content and getting more into interactive content and just talking about NFTs on a daily basis in my hairdressing life is so much fun because it keeps me on point. And I also listen to Twitter Spaces. I try to listen to at least 45 minutes to an hour Twitter space a day. There's one that I listen to quite frequently. It's called Tech News Daily. That's one that I like to go to just kind of hear about what's going on. And I also like to look at things like what would be cool. Like what do I think is cool as a collector that I can share or we can find to offer for the homies, the holders. I got the chance to get flown to LA. I got to do behind the scenes photo shoot with Cheech and Chong all day. I got to do live footage on Instagram and Facebook and some Discord. and those items that were there
say that less
that day.
casually, please. Wow.
I know it's unbelievable, but at the same time, like the mission is to bring the content to the holders, right? So it's not
Amazing.
about me.
I
It's
love
not
it.
about me interacting. It's about me trying to create as many aspects and avenues of what I see and then save it and then recreate content and share it later. So it's interesting, it's fun, and it's a lot of work, like Pablo was saying. Like then you get into the analytics of it, right? And then let's not forget the Twitter drama that happens quite often now. I can't decide, is it Twitter drama today
one of the
or
few
meta
channels
drama?
I stay away from completely on Twitter. I mean I have it, but
It's one of those things where you just brush it off.